right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with a quick scholar panel today. We have 4 Snow scholars who received the scholarship either last year or a year before that from different colleges. They're going to come here, or they're here to give you advice today on college life, campus life, any questions that you have about the road ahead of you. They are here to provide that advice. So, it can be something academic, or maybe it's questions about how to deal with roommates, how to deal with moves, stuff like that. They're here to answer those questions. And so instead of going around with the mic, you can just raise your hand, I'll call on you, and if you just make sure to speak loud and clear so we can hear you, and they'll answer your questions. Before we get started, we're going to do a quick introduction. So starting with Phara, I'll ask you 4 to say your names, where you go to school, and what you're majoring in.
Hello, my name is Phara. My major is psychology. I recently just transferred to FAU. For my first 2 years, I was at Palm Beach State, and now I'm an owl.
Hi, I'm Barry. I go to the University of Florida, majoring in computer engineering, and I'm going into my sophomore year.
Hello, I'm Sarah. I'm a biology major at the University of Florida.
Hi everyone, my name is Dodlee Mosilme. I study biology at Florida Atlantic University, and I have a focus in pre-med, so I want to go to medical school.
Thank you. And you can keep the mics at each table, so that mic will be for Barry and Phara. Okay, perfect. All right, do we have any questions that we'd like to start with? Anyone raise their hand? Okay, I see a question down here in the front. You can go.
Hi guys. Do you guys recommend any scholarships that to apply within this college, or should I just outside college?
Yeah, go ahead, Phara. Or Dodley first and then Phara.
What school are you going to? FAU?
Palm Beach State and transferring into
Okay.
For Palm Beach State, they have grants, especially if you plan on transferring. So once you apply, actually at Palm Beach State, there's also another tab that says scholarships, and there's scholarships for if based on your major. So what's your major?
cybersecurity.
Okay, they definitely have a scholarship for that, and they also have programs where you could do a work study position there. So it'll be around your school schedule, and then based on that, you obviously get paid, and you also get experience within that, plus a scholarship.
Dodley, did you have anything to add?
FAU also has a similar program where they have a network of scholarships, and they just recently implemented a new way of doing it where you can get personalized scholarships by putting things that is relevant to you. For example, your major, where you're from, all these things, and they will gather those scholarships for you and send you emails, weekly emails about scholarships that are available and that you are able to apply for.
Thank you. Okay, who's next? I have a question right here.
Was there something unexpected or weird that happened when you first started college or throughout the experience that you never expected to happen?
That's a good question. Barry?
So I'm an only child, so I don't have any siblings, obviously. Definitely hard to deal with multiple roommates. I have 4 of the roommates. It's pretty interesting. The apartment is, shared upon everyone, and you have to do your own things. And dishes and trash is definitely something that has to get done. But it's nice that you have other people, but it was definitely unexpected of how much I thought I was gonna be changed, I guess, because I have so many people around me all the time. So yeah.
I will say one thing I didn't expect at all was to be so humbled, I think. Just in high school, you're so used to, and I'm sure all of you can relate as well, but just straight A's, perfect GPA, top of the class, and then once you get to college, just everything is so different, and on top of that, it's just a whole new routine for you, and figuring out what works for you, what studying habits are best for you. So it's definitely a little bit humbling, not even just only academically, but I think in every aspect, being so new to something can be very humbling, but also makes for a great learning lesson, so.
I think that's a great point. Okay. Yes, right here in the center.
The way do you work, especially dealing with the biology major?
Yeah, I work on campus, so I am a federal work study student worker. So basically, I get paid through FAFSA, and that's like a whole FAFSA thing. But I work as a first generation. I work as a desk assistant at the first generation office at my school. Those who are going to FAU and are first generations, stop by. We're in room 114 at the Student Success Building. Write that down. I will be there.
Do you want to say the room number again?
Room 114 at the SU80 building. Yeah, we have a lot of good resources and connections for all first-gen students, and of course, we accept all students, but it's really geared for first-gen students.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I don't work during school, but right now I'm working as a medical assistant for a dermatologist. So I forget who asked, but like if you're wondering like in regards to like pre-med jobs, I would definitely recommend medical assistant. It gives you some great insight on patient care, even just helping out with small procedures or just like going over patient medical history. Definitely very beneficial for you.
Awesome. Do we have any other additions there? No? Okay, perfect. Yeah, and on the topic of finding jobs in the summer, that's one aspect of Lisa's role. So if you're ever looking for help finding summer internships or jobs, look to Lisa. Make sure to contact her. Yes, right here. Sorry, I think it's Albanese, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys like move away from college? Like move to like, cause I'm moving to Orlando and I live there, right? That's in 3 hours. So did any of you guys move away? And if you moved away, also, my second question is, how is life with like regarding like making friends on campus? Because everyone says, oh, you're gonna make so much friends, and a lot of people say it's a lie. And so how does that look like you know, making those connections with people and networking and putting yourself out there?
So I moved away for college, and I live down the street. And it's funny. I go to Florida Atlantic University in Boca, and I live near West Palm Beach. So I technically live down the street, and I can go home anytime I want if I feel homesick or I feel hungry. But but usually, so your question was, what was your question again?
My question was basically like moving away from home. Well, I mean, you're pretty close, but like,
Yeah.
like how did that look like? How did it change your responsibility? Like, just give me some insight about how that.
Yeah, so I would definitely recommend living on campus. It's an amazing experience. It's very enriching. So a lot of people that complain about college being not for them or their college experience wasn't good is because they never immersed themselves in the campus life, in the other aspects besides academics only. So living on campus gives you a much better opportunity to enrich yourself and put yourself in campus life and campus activities. Living on campus, definitely, another thing living on campus did for me is, in a sense, this analogy that I use is, all throughout high school, I was holding on to my mom's hand. But going to college and living on campus was basically me letting go of my mom's hand and finally growing up. It's challenging, but it's definitely good because you grow and you learn more about yourself, and that's one thing I didn't expect from going to college. You will learn a lot about yourself. College will literally, it's like a steaming pot. It will pressurize you, but you will see what comes in and out about yourself. So I definitely suggest living on campus and making friends. Majority of people in college, they're looking to make friends too. So a lot of people are looking to meet new people, especially freshmen. Everyone's excited about college and they want to meet new people. So just step out of your comfort zone and make the first move. Introduce yourselves, try to start a study group, and put yourself out there. It may be scary, but it's like in elementary school. It's not like in elementary school where it's like, hey, you want to be friends? Let's be friends. We're best friends forever. Literally, it just happens. I know it sounds cliche, but it kind of just happens in college. But you got this.
I do want to ask, as Phara, I know you're going to answer there, so I do want to come back to you, but Sarah and Barry, you had a long drive to move up to Gainesville. Do you have something you'd like to add?
Yeah, so I all the way in Gainesville, and I grew up in Delray, Boca area. I would say, in like terms of like the social aspect of it, I think college is really just what you make it. It's really up to you. It's kind of like being thrown into a pool. You just have to kind of figure out, because I feel like in high school, socializing is so much easier, and it's kind of like done for you because you're in these small classes and you kind of are forced to know everyone within your classes. But I think it's really just how you make it. There's so many ways to get involved, whether it's through clubs or through, I don't know, if you're into like Greek life, or I know for me, for example, one of like my closest friends now, we met because she sat next to me in calc lecture, and I like went up to her and I was like, are you just as lost as I am? And she was like, I'm so lost. And then we shared information, and now we go out every weekend together. So I think it's just really what you make it. Yeah, but I think just like, it's just, the difficult part is accepting that it's up to you, and like no one's gonna do it for you. So you have to be the one to like, as he said, like go introduce yourselves and get into study groups. So I think things like that kind of like facilitate things for you.
Yeah, to go along with that, I also moved from Boca to Gainesville. I don't drive because my car got totaled, so yeah, so I just took the red coach here. Not fun. Try to get a car if you can. The thing about college, like Sarah said, high school, it's so cliche, I guess, in a way. Whereas in college, like my orientation, I straight up walked to two people who I thought were like interesting. I was like, hey, we started talking, now we hang out every week. So it's definitely easy to find a group of friends that you can definitely mesh with, especially like as also my roommates, we're all friends, we all go out all the time. I think a lot of people have this misconception that you are gonna make a ton of friends, and it's not that you're gonna make a ton of friends, but I feel like instead you should find a close-knit group of friends instead of the most amount of friends, I guess,
Julie, go ahead.
I do want to say one more thing. Another thing that helped me a lot was, I don't know if you guys have like Instagrams for your class where like you like introduce yourselves. That helped me a bunch too. Like I would reach out to a lot of people, or like people would reach out to me, because it was like a failed roommate situation where we just like didn't end up rooming together, but you still make friends regardless. And like when you see them on campus, you go up to them, you're like, oh my god, hey, are you blah blah blah, and just like ask them to hang out or whatever. So I think that it's really just, as I said, like you gotta do it yourself.
Phara, did you want to add?
As a transfer student, I came from Palm Beach State, so I had one goal in mind, which was just to transfer, and I think that's where I messed up, because that being my only goal in mind, I just went to class, did my homework, and I went home. I would say my biggest regret was not getting involved, even though, it's a community college, it's like nothing. Get involved, because even though it's it's only 2 years, it makes a huge difference. And I'm kind of learning from my mistake now after I transferred, because now I'm seeing all these familiar faces from Palm Beach State, but I'm like, I have never spoken to you ever in my life. Or even in orientation 2 weeks ago, 2 of these students that were behind me were in my class, and I was like, oh wow, this is embarrassing, because I have never spoken to you guys ever. But just really getting involved, and I would say especially in a community college, there's so much out there. It's not it's nothing. There's a lot out there. You can get involved in student government, community service. Even though it's you're not in high school anymore, community service goes a lot. It means a huge. You can put on your resume, and you can also get connections. So as for making friends, I would just say going, showing up to like picnics that they have or little like club activities, definitely do that. Or I know colleges have like Club Rush where all the clubs come out, like sign up, even though it's like, I'm not gonna go, just sign up. Because once they start sending you emails, you're gonna wanna go. And even like during like final weeks, there's gonna have a lot of like freebies, like free t-shirts, you're gonna meet a lot of new people. And as for like first generation students, like I would say community college, they really like shine a light on us because they have like different activities for us, different like scholarships, people that we can meet, have connections with. So as long as you just go there, go out of your comfort zone, it's gonna come a long way because either you or someone else is gonna say hey, and it's gonna start a whole new conversation.
Okay, I'm gonna start right over here.
How would you say the living situation is like on US campus?
That's a great question. I think I lived in a dorm my first year, but I feel like I knew from the beginning, like this is just for a year, like I'm only dealing with this for a year. But I do feel like it's such a significant experience. Like I just think it's like crucial for socializing and even just like, obviously you're not gonna be familiar with the UF campus and they have a huge campus. So I think really like being immersed in it helped me out a lot. You get to meet a lot of people. I know a lot of the RAs are always willing to help in terms of like fixing your schedule. I don't know if you're getting like the meal plan or whatever, but you have a dining hall literally like very close to all the dorms. So I just think it makes your situation like so much easier. It's so much easier to get accustomed to the whole like living on your own. So I really enjoyed it, but I know like a lot of students wouldn't want to do it for more than a year just because like after your first year, once you're used to things, you kind of want to have your own space. But yeah, I loved the experience overall. It was a little hard and like communal bathrooms are not fun, but it's also not that big of a deal.
What do we have next? I'm seeing a hand. I think you're wearing a blue shirt. Yeah.
I know you touched.
Oh no, I'm sorry. You can go after her. Sorry. Yes, you.
Okay. Sorry. I know you touched a little bit earlier on the difference between high school courses and college courses, but what would you say was the biggest difference, the biggest shock going into that, and what did you do to adapt to make sure that you could still be successful in that different learning style?
So last semester, I realized that college professors are really hit or miss. They can be great, they can be horrible. And the thing that I realized, the difference between high school and college, which is somewhat obvious now that I look back, but you need to find your own resources because yes, there are office hours. However, my experience is that the office hours somewhat help. So it really depends on yourself going through your college's resources and finding the right resources for you, because I found tutoring resources through the College of Engineering, and it was honestly such a godsend because they are available basically whenever I need them, and all I have to do is just ask them, and they explain it way better than my professors can, because they, are busy, they have other things to do, and they don't really put their time into you, I've noticed, as much, especially at UF, professors have a lot of students, so it's pretty different.
I'm gonna ask a question. How many of us pulled an all-nighter to study for a test the next day? Yeah, don't do that in college. Because, the thing about college is that college takes a lot of intentionality. You have to be deliberate and you have to be proactive. Using your resources, like you said, asking for help when you need it. And time management is a crucial aspect of it too. I am a time management freak. I have a calendar and I put everything on it. From the time I wake up to this event to when I'll study and not when I eat, but whatever that is a time commitment, I have it on my calendar because it really helps. I like to say that if it's not on my calendar, it's not going to happen. Because it's true. The other day I was supposed to take my niece to her doctor's appointment, but I forgot to put it on my calendar, and guess what happened? I didn't take her to her doctor's appointment. So, treat your calendar very important, and add your study sessions on there, and break them into pieces. Anything that's overwhelming, literally sit down and think, because it's really about just thinking, how can I make this work? And plan it out, evaluate yourself, evaluate how are you progressing with your studies for each of your classes. Are you doing well? Are you doing well at your classes? If not, what do you need to change? How can you pivot? What other resource do you need to be successful? Ask for help. And then, after an exam or towards the end of the semester, evaluate and see what was successful and what wasn't, and adjust accordingly.
Thank you. Okay, who did I miss back here?
Oh, can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
I feel like when I got to college like made me think that I had never studied a day in my life before. Like the type of studying that you do in college is so different to the studying you do in high school. Like I used to be able to study like 2 days in advance, maybe like a night in advance, and I would be perfectly fine. Because in high school, it's so easy to get an A. I mean, you just finish your assignments and do well on exams. Like even in AP classes, it's significantly easier to get a good grade than in college courses. So I would say this is definitely something you're gonna learn on your own. But in college, there's no such thing as like studying even like 2 days before. I mean, for me, courses like heavy courses like chemistry or calculus, I take like 2 weeks in advance to start studying, and like it's very important to manage your time, and very true what you're saying about how everything's very intentional. You can't waste, like it's not like in high school where you can like waste your time going through Quizlet slides. Like that's not gonna work. Like you actually have to like put in the work and like do a bunch of practice problems and use your resources if you need any help. So I think it's definitely a very different type of studying, but it's something that you'll get accustomed to with time.
Yes.
We're all talking about resources, but I'm sure you guys are like, what are the resources that you guys have? I'm pretty sure every college or university has tutoring sessions that are free. They can be in person or online. I'm not sure about the online thing because I know at Palm Beach State and also at FAU they have it, but I would just double check on the online for universities. For your university, but yeah, there's like tutoring sessions that are free. There's also office hours. Like these are all things you guys can like take advantage of. I would say coming from Palm Beach State, there wasn't really like office hours. It's just I had to rely on like the tutoring sessions I would sign up for at the Learning Center, and then like study groups. But at universities, they have office hours that I'm like actually in shock of. I get to sit there with the professor and just like ask all my questions, and they have no other way but to answer my questions. But yeah, definitely check out the tutoring services that they provide, that your tuition pays for, that you pay for, your FAFSA pays for.
Okay, going back to this person who's back here, I'm sorry.
Ooh, wait, which one?
The person that I skipped over. Who was it?
So my question is for all of sorry. My question is for all of you. I know you guys like had like a big adjustment as you guys are talking about from like high school to college, but like when you guys like started, did you guys like kind of like jump into everything, or did you guys take your time and like with everything that you do, like clubs, activities, jobs, like how did you balance it without what's that thing called? Not mental health. The thingy, the burnout. Like, how did you do without burning out?
Okay.
I definitely did not just jump into it and get involved. I kind of just took my time and just slowly ease my way in there, because as a freshman, you're just kind of overwhelmed with everything you already have. So I just took my time. I went to my freshman year and took my time, took everything slowly. What was your other part of your question?
Like, how did you balance, like, if you did any activities and all that other stuff, like, how did you balance it with school, or if you had a job and stuff like that?
Okay, how did I balance work life? I had a part-time job. I only worked on weekends, so I'd work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and like I would have Monday through Thursday just to do schoolwork, and that was like a way for me to just stay focused on school and then have work. just to not mix them up or anything. And then, like, I wouldn't say there's like a way to, like, there is a way to avoid burnout, but it's also like, you have to realize yourself, like, know when you're like, okay, wait, I have to take a step back and I have to reevaluate everything and how everything is going with my class, my work, and everything. Because other people might see it, but you yourself, you like, oh no, I'm fine. This is just like high school. I got this. Like, you have to actually pay attention to yourself and your schedule and like work and everything. Because it's really hard to just, oh, like, let's finish this, like, one more year, I got this. You have to like take it easy, don't just jump into it all right. It just takes time to settle in. But I definitely think that once you have like a schedule, like how I did, where work was just in the weekends and then school was during the weekdays, it really helped me out.
So for me, my program's kind of different. So I'm in the Gator Engineering at Santa Fe program. So I've taken classes at Santa Fe and UF. So for me, Santa Fe is a community college, if you don't know. So for me, starting at Santa Fe was pretty nice because I was able to transition easier, I guess, because I had smaller class sizes when it came to adjusting the schedule and all that. I just got a job, so now balancing work and school is a little bit of a challenge right now. I'm working about 25 hours a week. So I didn't just straight up get involved right away. Like, first semester, I kind of took my time, you know, spent time with the people who were around me the most, and I didn't really try to get involved too much. But now, I'm part of a few clubs. I'm thinking of potentially rushing. I don't know for a fact, but you definitely should go in slowly and not worry about going all out, because, as you said, burnout is a possible thing that could occur. And I think to combat that, you just gotta realize that you're on your own, and you can definitely make it how you will and make your schedule fit your lifestyle. And I think that's very important.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So I was when I first entered college, I immediately got involved. One of the first clubs I joined was marching band. Well, not a club or activities, was marching band, and that really helped me get involved all over campus because it's such a dynamic thing. The marching band is very involved with football life, with community events and stuff like that, and it was really easy for me to make friends. Truth is though, I was a bit scared of getting too involved because I didn't know what to expect in college. So I really was careful on what I committed myself to. However, don't let that fear grow onto the next semesters where that fear prevents you from trying new things because you don't want to be uncomfortable or you don't want to have a failure. Step out and try new things. Do things that you would never thought you would do. You never know. I think, I guess I should mention a few clubs that I am part of. So I'm part of First and Proud, which is a first generation student organization. Well, let me say it this way. It's an organization for first generation students at Florida Atlantic University, where we just provide a community and resources and activities for first generation students. And I serve as the secretary there. And I also am also treasurer for Black Men in Medicine, which is a club that me and my friend, who was also a George Snow Scholar, that we were the first to charter at our school. So those clubs are very beneficial. So if any of you guys are interested, you can come up to me and ask me questions and how to get involved. Those who are going to FAU, of course.
I think specifically for all the pre-meds and all of you who are like, not even just pre-med, but applying to like, planning on applying to grad school, there can be a lot of pressure to be involved in like so many things and to commit so much of your time to it right away. I definitely recommend easing into it. You have so much time, you have 4 years. I think, especially your first semester, I would say you should just commit that time to like getting accustomed to everything. Like I mentioned, like it's the first time you're living without your family and you're like dealing with your own independence and just getting used to so many new things. that I think it can be very overwhelming if you're on top of that, also stressing about joining clubs and keeping up with your grades. So I definitely would recommend, if you are applying to grad schools, and I know that I understand the pressure of being involved, I would recommend kind of easing into it. Maybe like if you're starting in the fall, in your spring, start getting involved. I know I started volunteering or started shadowing physicians and getting involved in organizations that you're passionate about. So yeah, I think definitely ease into it. There can be a lot of pressure. I also know another thing about the pre-med community is that it's very cutthroat. I think people are always trying to like brag about, oh, I got this position and I got this position, so it makes you feel like you're so behind. But I promise you, you have so much time, and I think being on campus and being like actually being in college, you feel like you just have so many more opportunities. So don't be stressed about that right now. It can be very stressful and overwhelming, but with time, you'll get used to it.
Okay, next question. Yes, down here.
So I definitely recommend PM classes. High school, I used to wake up at 5 a.m. every day. I can't do that now at all. It's really hard. Even waking up at like 6 or 7. I don't know what it is, if it's a phenomenon or something, but when you get to college, at least for me, you definitely want your sleep. You know, sleep is very important. But PM classes are really nice because generally classes are like 1.5 to 2 hours. So if you schedule it right, you should probably have like 4-hour days, and then also try to get Fridays off, which are fantastic. But it's definitely a change from high school when you have 7-hour days every day to like 3 to 5 hours every day. But definitely PM classes. Now, you're not going to always be able to do that, just because depending on where you're going, I mean, really anywhere, scheduling is very competitive. You know, everyone wants the nice schedule. But try to limit your AM classes, just because PM classes are just better in my opinion overall. But yeah, for sure, try to do all that.
So for me, for all the semesters I've been at FAU, I had at least one 8 a.m. class. So I think, you know, the time you have classes is based on your preference, really knowing if you are a morning person or an afternoon person. I am not a PM person because I've had class at 3 p.m. and I am knocked out. I am more awake in the morning than in the afternoon. I think it's like after lunch, you know, you get that slug feeling, so that's me. It's just knowing yourself, knowing how your body works. I was able to get a hold of my time management where I could get a hold of my sleep schedule. So making sure that I have enough sleep and getting my work done. So that's why time management is really important. That's why I have wake up times and sleep times on my calendar, because it really helps with that. 8 a.m.s are not that bad if you, one, get enough sleep, and if you have a really good teacher that doesn't bore you to sleep. But besides that, try it out. If it's not your thing, it's okay. I tried out PM classes, and it wasn't my thing. Now, all of my classes, I have all of my classes, you know, I have all my classes between 8 to like 1, and I have the rest of my day to myself. I love that. I love having the rest of the day to myself. I don't have to worry about, oh, I have class at 5 p.m. I gotta get ready, you know, having staggered classes. I would have classes mostly in the morning block, and then, you know, have the afternoon to myself, either to hang out with friends or study, do whatever I like, and you know, that benefited me. So play around with that, especially your first year. See what works and see what doesn't.
Okay, we have some more hands up.
Oh, can I give one more response?
Can it be quick?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
I was just saying, I think it definitely does depend on your personality. I know, like, my first semester, I took a bunch of PMs, and I literally would not wake up until 2 in the afternoon, which I love, but, like, I just can't live like that. So then, like, my spring semester, I started taking a bunch of AMs, and I loved it because you get the whole day to yourself and you just feel so much more like productive and accomplished. So I think if you have the discipline to wake up early without having anything to do, then take the PMs. But if you need something to do in the morning to get yourself up, then I would say take the AMs.
All right, so this top corner up here, I'm gonna pick this. I think you're wearing a white shirt up there, long sleeve. Yeah.
Oh, I plan on going out of state for college. One thing I'm worried about is like budgeting. How would you go about like budgeting things? Because even though I'm not even in college yet, I'm still worried about being in debt. That's the last thing I want to be part of. So how would you go about budgeting as you college?
That's a good question. So the question was about budgeting. She's going out of state. I will say that our next presentation is going to be on financial planning, so you'll get a very detailed answer on that. But what have you all found for budgeting?
Learn to cook.
Yeah.
Food is very expensive. My job is finally now helping me recover from my constant Chipotle splurges, but you really gotta learn to cook. I know how to cook, but you know, you gotta get yourself to want to cook, because a lot of times you're gonna wanna go out, you know, you can make up whatever excuse you want, but cooking really does help. I wouldn't recommend going the ramen route, personally, but you can always find stores that are really cheap, and you can get a lot of food for a lot less than going out, and that is definitely something you should work on for sure if you haven't already.
Any other tips there?
I'm not, I can't relate to it, but I will say I have some friends that are out of state, and something that they use to like help them with like food or like things that they need. Some of the things that you would want are like food, obviously, like clothes and all that. Sometimes they have that for free at your college. So like when they have events, there's free food. There's also free shirts. They also have at FAU they have this like George Snow has it too. It's like a closet for like professional clothes, just like sneakers, things like that. They sometimes these colleges have these things. It just takes time for you to find out these resources. But I will say take advantage of anything that's free. Just keep in mind that you're technically paying for it because your tuition, but yeah.
All right. Let's see, more hands. Okay, right here, bucket hat. Paying attention while studying? Oh, how to be intentional when you're studying.
I'd say it takes a while to know what studying techniques work best for you, because that really is what being intentional is about, is like only spending time on things that you know are going to benefit you. Like I know, and it really does depend on the person. Like my friends, flashcards work for them. For me, it works more like doing practice problems. So I think it just depends on the type of person you are, but it really does, you have to kind of figure out what works best for you and then eliminate what doesn't. Like whatever you think is a waste of time, like ignore it. Even if your other friend maybe like it may be helping her, or she's spending a lot of time doing that, if that doesn't help you get the grade that you want, or it doesn't help you kind of like master the content, then I would just stick to like the techniques that work for you. But as I said, like it takes time to learn that. It takes maybe some bad grades to figure out, oh, like this wasn't the best technique for me and this was. So as I said, it takes some time, but definitely just focus on the stuff that you know will like for a fact help you out.
Thank you. Okay, other questions? Yes, right here. White shirt, I think.
The question was a whole panel. What is the main way you all found you all evaluate the professors, you know, other than like that break by professor? And for any professors that you might not have clicked with or found that you weren't really learning well enough how to do about that?
For the Rate My Professor, I'm probably the only person, but I don't really use Rate My Professor that much because I also think that it depends on how you are as a student. So one person might not like a professor, because they give too much work or there wasn't much office hours. It's just very objective. It's just you. But I would also say, like again, getting involved in knowing people, like they've also taken those classes as well, Or you could simply ask your advisor, like, oh, I'm taking this class. Do you have anything in mind with previous students that has taken it? And then as for if I had a professor that I couldn't work with, like my calculus professor, do you remember that shit?
Oh yeah.
I would just use the add and drop period very seriously. It just takes trial and error. And also some of your professors, they teach one class, but they also they don't only teach one class, they have like other classes as well. So if you have a professor that you really like, try to get connected with them, because they also have professors that are friends that they're connected with, so you could also get information from them. But yeah, really look into the add and drop period, and yeah.
Any other questions there? Or answers there, I'm sorry. All right, next question. Okay, so we're gonna go right here. I think it's a red shirt. Center, yes.
If you guys could give your freshman selves one piece of advice, what would it be?
Don't be afraid. Fear has kept me from doing a lot of things and, missing a lot of opportunities. Because of not wanting to make a mistake, not wanting to mess up, not afraid of, doing something uncertain, I missed out on a lot of experiences. And really, college is about the experiences you have. When you look back after these 4 years, you're gonna think about, the memories that you made, the things that you learned. I like to say that the college experience is both the good and the bad times, because that's what makes it, meaningful. How the good times, the memorable times that make you smile, and also the bad times that you grew from, the things that you learned from those bad times. I think that makes the college experience very, very memorable, alongside with your degree. So, I'm not sure if you noticed, but I've been emphasizing, trying new things, not being afraid, immersing yourself. At least try it once. In college, college is that opportunity for you to just try everything once and then just filter all the other things that isn't for you, because in your 30s, if you have a family and you have responsibilities, you can't, do everything that you want, that you wanted to do in your 20s. So let the college experience be that opportunity for you to just immerse yourself in experiences.
I want to just add on to that. One piece of advice I would give my freshman self is, yes, academics is huge, but don't think it's I have to get this done, there's no way out of it. Try to find a nice balance for your social life and also your school life, because even though I have class at 10:30, you can still stay after class and ask questions if you possibly can. But also don't just go back to your dorm or go to your room or whatever. Just stay after school or stay after class and just go get involved, because 9 times out of 10 there's going to be some kind of event that's happening when you're walking to your car. Just go in and just stop by and just, see how it is. It's not all academics, even though freshman year I took that and that was just it. I really regret that now, but just try to get involved, just do whatever you can, but then just have some kind of nice balance that you can maintain. So for example, for me, freshman year, I worked during the weekend, so I knew I tried to at least that Monday through Thursday, it's only school, and then the weekend just only work. I would say right now I would go back and change it to I have school, but also there's a whole picnic that's happening outside with free food, free things with all friends, and I could just make more friends.
One word of advice that I would give to my freshman year self is that it's okay to fail. As I mentioned, I think all of us are just so used to being successful and kind of things going our way in high school because we have so much control over it. But I think that college is just a constant learning process, and I think that if you're too hard on yourself and you that's just impeding your ability to like learn from your mistakes. I think you have to fail to learn from it and do better. So yeah, I think just like, as I said, it's just a learning experience, and the second you stop learning is the second you start losing. So I think it's just like important to learn from your mistakes. Don't be hard on yourselves. College is hard. These courses are very difficult, or like significantly difficult, more difficult than high school courses. So just take it easy on yourself, and with time, you'll get better at it.
Did you want to add anything there, Barry? Okay, no worries at all. Yeah, I will add on to that we believe that failure eventually leads to success, so it's totally okay if something doesn't go right in your first year, first semester. It's all part of the transition and the learning process. We have students every year who have to withdraw from classes or even fail classes. There's no judgment. Your scholarship won't be taken away. I just wanted to add that there. We are a resource to you, so we check in with you each semester to see how you're doing, and if there is an issue with the class that you're having, we want to know so that we can help you, not penalize you. So we're here if you need us. Okay, next questions. All right, so I'm going to go down here. I think that's Paisley. Yeah. Okay.
Have you ever second guessed your major or your career path?
For sure. Engineering is very hard, and there's a lot of math. I'm not the greatest at math, and I have to go to a very high level of math. So I've definitely questioned it, but I think a lot of people think that, people go into their majors for, money or whatever it is, but I feel like if you're passionate about your major, no matter what course you're in, you're definitely gonna prevail in the end because you know that that's what you want to do. And even if you don't know what you want to do, there's always reasoning behind what you're doing. So you can second guess yourself like I have, but in the end, just know that whatever path you're gonna go on will eventually be the right path.
Any other responses there on second guessing?
I've second guessed myself pretty much ever since I started, but it's just like, if you really think it's for you, I would just try it out, and then if it's not, there's other ways you can change your major a little bit, so you won't have to take a whole new class or a whole new prereqs. Just talk to your advisor, and there's every college that you guys are going to be going to, they have a thing that's called College and Career Center, something like that, similar to what you guys had in high school, where they are able to sit down and talk to you, and they have this whole website where they actually take a quiz and see what's your what are your interests on, what do you do in your free time to see what's best for you. As a freshman, it's okay to go to college undecided, as long as you're making your way to finding out what is you want to do. But there's no pressure at all if you change your major. Just make sure it's not too late. Make sure you're talking to your advisor, and yeah.
Earlier in the panel, I was just explaining how college will teach you a lot about yourself. And one thing for sure is you may come in with one idea of what you want to do, and everything just completely shifts, later on, and that's totally okay. It's better for you to figure that now than later. Once you're in a career, you're already developed, and all of a sudden you're it's not for me. There are countless stories I've heard of people going into medical school, getting their degree, working in the field, and realizing they hate it. They don't like it here, and now it's this whole dilemma and crisis and trying to repivot, and pivot their lives. So that's why it's super important just to try new things and be open-minded. Don't be afraid to fail. I know there's such a high expectation for you guys, and it is a privilege, to have this expectation on you guys, but George Snow is a safety net. If you do fall, they catch you and they help you guys back up. And they have a lot of resources, career development, the closet, all those things to help you get back up and recover, or even get some counseling or advice on, careers and how to navigate some things. So use those resources. Don't be afraid to try and explore. Really explore. That's how you're going to be able to filter those things, what you like and don't like. Explore.
All right, thank you all.